Chapter 3 Fitting In. As Kara slinked across the cafeteria, picking up speed, clearly about to make her escape to the ladies' room or a broom closet or anywhere that she didn't need to face the reality of school, a familiar voice called out, "Come sit with me." Kara paused and slowly dared to look at the pretty blonde girl who was sitting alone with a fresh plate of food. The smell of Mexican spices tickled Kara's nostrils, causing her to swoon, but the friendly word sparked an even greater hunger. Kara hesitated, afraid that the invitation might be laced with poison. "Don't tell me you don't remember me," the blonde girl said, playfully disappointed. Kara squinted, trying to remember where she had seen the girl before, when suddenly her face clicked perfectly into place. She was the kind soul from the restroom yesterday. Red. "Oh, sorry," Kara said, almost panicky in embarrassment, as she hurried to sit down before the girl withdrew her invitation. "Oh, it's quite all right," she said, laughing. "In fact, I feel like a new person today. How do you like my look?" Kara took her in. Her bright green eyes, fresh face, and now blonde hair that almost glowed under the fluorescent light, surrounded by the delicious scent of food. Kara felt hypnotized as she replied reverently, "You look so beautiful." The blonde girl's smile wavered as she put her hand to her chest, and blood rushed to her face. "Oh, my, you are really nice. I need more friends like you. My name's Lena, by the way." Lena reached across the table. Kara hesitantly put her hand in Lena's, saying, "I'm Kara." Lena nodded, knowing so much more than she would say. "Aren't you eating?" she asked, noting Kara's empty hands. "I already ate," Kara lied, while her mouth watered as Lena put a fork full of burrito and salsa to her lips. Lena eyed her skeptically, then began eating tantalizingly slow, savoring every bite. "I'm famished." Kara wished she could eat like that, then nobody would make fun of her. Kara shifted in her seat. It made a noise a little too loud for someone her size, and Kara winced at the sound. Then her stomach growled, making her sad. "Have a few if you want," Lena offered, inching the plate of tortilla chips in Kara's direction. "God, no!" Kara protested too much as she leaned away from the corn kryptonite. But thanks for offering." Lena kept eating while looking at Kara knowingly. Finally, she said, "You were in the chat room last night, weren't you?" Kara looked at her, stunned. How did she know that? She nodded her head, and then looked away, embarrassed and ashamed. Lena pushed the chips even closer. "It's okay. Nobody's judging you here," she said, with such reassuring eyes. Kara stared at the food like it might attack. Then she gingerly put one chip into her mouth, savored its salty taste, and followed it with another. After two, she put up her hand, indicating that she'd had enough. She was afraid of starting an eating frenzy. Lena smiled, then continued eating her burrito while saying, "You can't let those meanies define you. They act like they're royalty in the school, in charge of everything, and like people really care what they think. But almost nobody goes in that chat room anymore. I don't even know why I do, even." A voice startled Kara, approaching from behind, finishing Lena's thought. "Because the world is shit, and we have to keep watching the shitters or we'll step in it." A goth boy, wearing all black except for a silver earring, sat beside Lena. He was carrying a tray of food, but he reached into the plate in the middle of the table and stole a tortilla chip. "Those are mine," Lena scolding, pulling the plate away but leaving it in the middle of the table. "Only Kara can eat those." The boy glanced up at Kara, looking more disappointed than what would seem appropriate. "Oh, so it's charity for the ugly duckling?" Kara shriveled at the insult, and Lena's mouth opened in shock, and she threw the rest of the chips in his face. He raised his hands defensively and laughed. "Just kidding." "Not funny," Lena replied with a glare. "You're okay," he told Kara as a minimum of an apology, and he reached out to shake her hand while barely meeting her eyes. "I'm Eric." Kara felt compelled to accept his apology as she quickly shook his hand, but she didn't say anything. Lena gestured towards Eric and whispered to Kara loud enough for Eric to hear. "That's why he doesn't have any friends." "Amongst other reasons," he mumbled to himself, now withdrawing from the girls as he ate his food. "Student body must be blind," Lena declared emphatically, trying to undo the damage of Eric's joke. Her eyes locked on Kara's, so Kara could see that Lena was sincere. Eric nodded in agreement, or maybe just because he liked the taste of his hamburger. Kara looked down at her hands while the others ate their food. After a few minutes of silence, Eric pushed his carton of milk across the table to her, so she wouldn't feel so out of place. Kara thanked him. She felt awkward and uncomfortable, but she had a seat at lunch where she was welcome, and she wasn't about to just throw that away. And she really liked Lena. Kara looked at Lena as though she was looking at the sun, stealing a glance of her burnt orange sweater, then her silver heart earrings, then her ruby lips, before she finally gazed fully at her eyes. Lena noticed Kara's excessive attention, but Lena smiled and let Kara keep on staring. The more Kara looked at Lena, the more beautiful she was. But more than that, Kara admired her inner strength and freedom. Kara sipped some of Eric's milk through a straw and didn't feel the wave of hunger that she feared. In fact, the milk refreshed her. It wasn't the nourishment or the taste or the feeling on her lips, tongue, and stomach that was satisfied. It was the sense of communion as they were having lunch together. Just as Kara's confidence grew, and she even allowed herself to smile, she looked around the cafeteria to find that nobody was judging her today. She didn't hear her name mentioned in any chatter. She had found a clan, even if it was just the three of them. Then, Kara saw two eyes across the cafeteria fixed on her. Alex was sitting with several sophomore friends, but her attention was solely focused on her younger sister. Alex was not pleased. Kara tried to hold Alex's hand on the ride home, but Alex moved her hand away. "Do you know who you were sitting with at lunch today?" Alex asked sharply. Kara nodded. "Lena and Eric." "Lena Thorell is a psycho," Alex declared, too loudly in the half-full bus. She pointed at Kara like an adult scolding a child, then continued more quietly. "She totally freaked out in class last year, screaming that she was hearing voices, then was put into a mental hospital on Valentine's Day, and she's now in her second year as a freshman. And Eric Dominello, well, he just totally gives me the creeps." Kara was stunned. Alex's description of Lena seemed so completely wrong. She could only say, "But I like them, and they're the only people who want to be my friends, and you're always with your friends." Alex seemed surprised, and her voice softened. "Well, I just want you to be aware of who you are getting involved with. Besides, Mom said I had to look out for you." Kara looked through the bus window at the cars driving in the other direction. "Well, you don't have to worry about me. I'm pretty tough, you know." "That's what I keep telling Mom," Alex said more quietly, as if trying to reassure Kara of what Kara didn't know. The two girls continued the ride home, each facing different directions. As they approached their house, Alex's hand seemed to reach out to Kara's, but settled on Kara's knee for a moment. Her hand was shaking, and Kara couldn't understand why. Then the bus stopped. Their mom was not home yet. Alex bounced out of the bus with suddenly light feet as she scampered into the house. Kara followed behind, trying to figure her sister out. Alex was so different when their mother was not around. She raided the fridge for an OJ and a carrot as a mid-afternoon snack, then planted her butt on the sofa in the living room in front of the TV and began channel surfing. Kara knew that Alex expected her to sit on her left, and they would begin arguing about what TV show to settle on. Instead, Kara walked to her bedroom, tossed her funny-smelling sweater in a hamper, and stared blankly at her very limited wardrobe. Several blouses in solid colors, a t-shirt honoring Panic at the Disco, 3 short clean skirts, a pair of jeans, 1 pink cardigan sweater, and 1 blue turtleneck. That was it. It didn't seem like nearly enough for Kara to remake herself. Kara slipped her arms into the salmon-colored blouse to remind herself how she looked in it, the fabric pulled tight in front, putting a strain on the buttons. When several minutes had passed, and Kara had still not joined Alex on the sofa, Alex walked up to Kara's open door. Alex knew she could not sneak up on her Kryptonian sister, but she just stood at the door and watched, until Kara finally said, "I'm putting on weight." Alex somehow took this statement as an invitation to enter. "It's called growing," she said, matter-of-factly. "That is the same blouse you wore all of last year. Besides, you can't just put it on over your school clothes and fake boobs." "I just don't want to look ugly anymore," Kara brooded. Feeling ashamed, she judged herself guilty of fishing for compliments, but her soul hungered for much more than just that. "Please." Alex rolled her eyes. She was breathing deeply as she stood in front of Kara and began unbuttoning her sister's strained outer blouse. "Do you really believe that online critic more than your own eyes?" Kara watched under Alex's expression as the older girl continued to unbutton the second blouse underneath. She pushed both shirts back, and Kara obligingly pulled both arms out of the clothes. "Do you believe what someone says more than you believe me?" Alex pulled the cotton balls out from under Kara's bra one at a time, finally restoring Kara's real shape. "You are beautiful," Alex declared, as though it was beyond dispute. She pinched Kara's skin near her belly button, saying, "See, no fat here at all." The two girls' eyes locked, and Kara was on pins and needles over what Alex would say and do next. "So, don't feel guilty if you feel hungry," she finally said. Alex then gently stroked the spot that she had pinched, and whispered in a detached voice that didn't quite match the look in her eyes, "It's amazing such soft skin can be so strong. Is it as sensitive as it is strong?" Kara wasn't sure how to answer, but she didn't even try. It was like the question wasn't for her. Alex was driving, and Kara was only along for the ride. Abruptly, Alex smiled excitedly and grabbed Kara's arm, saying, "Come here," and dragged Kara into her bedroom. She unclasped Kara's bra, freeing her tiny boobs, then helped Kara into one of Alex's own one-piece blue dresses that she had once worn to a dance last year. Then she shoved Kara in front of a mirror with a pleased grin on her face, saying, "See, your boobs look so cute in this dress, and you look awesome in blue." Kara smiled brightly as she looked in the mirror, feeling completely thrilled at how she looked, at how Alex was looking at her, and how good it felt wearing one of Alex's dresses. Then the girls heard the sound of a car pulling into the driveway, and she now looked embarrassed, much like last night after they had kissed and their mom woke up. "Come," Alex whispered urgently, rushed into the living room and sat on the sofa as if they had been watching TV for an hour. Miss Danvers walked through the front door carrying a bag of groceries, saying, "Hi, girls. How do you feel about a tofu stir-fry tonight?" "Sure," the sisters replied in unison, both pretending to be completely immersed in Animal Planet. Their mother eyed them skeptically, then asked Kara, "What are you wearing? Are you wearing a bra? You didn't dress like that to school, did you?" Alex stormed to her room, as though the comments had been directed towards her. Kara, taking her cue, escaped into her own room, leaving their mother in the living room, holding a bag, wondering what had just happened. Kara turned on her computer and switched into her own clothes while she waited for the chat room to start up. Finally, her computer entered the conversation. Lena XOXO wrote, "Don't be so mean. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were student body." Skins Fan wrote, "Yeah, I didn't like that skirt today, but yeah, she's actually pretty sweet." Cookie wrote, "Shut up, Lena. You aren't making Kara happen. You can put lipstick and perfume on a pig, but it's still a pig." Kara crushed the computer mouse in her hand and tossed the remains across the room. She forced herself to breathe steadily. 10 minutes ago, it seemed like the world was changing, but now it seemed like everything had just stayed the same.